Hey everybody, it is Monday, August 17th, and today we have a special guest for our call. I'd like you guys all to, we can't welcome her like live, but I'd like you to welcome her on the thread and thank her after this call. Jenny Swisher, and those of you who don't know her, lives practically my neighbor in Fishers, and she is a 5-star, I believe at the moment, coach. And she owns a gym, Revolution X, which is also right down the street from my house. And her and her husband, Chris, have an adorable dog, Rudy, who I get to pet often. And they their gym is a awesome little place. It's really fun, and they do a lot of P90X is their baby. So those of you who got to come and see Tony, they do everything Tony there. And then they have other things there as well now too, Size and Pyo and Insanity. And are you guys still doing combat? I know, yoga. So, but they came out of Tony's was their branching point. So I'm going to we got a list of questions for her. And I first met Jenny a long time ago, last year or so. I went to my first Super Saturday, and I was like, we have a lot in common. So we are going to get the ball rolling. I don't want to take up too much time me talking. So thank you, Jenny, for taking time out of your schedule. I know it's busy. And we'd like to just get started with having you kind of introduce yourself and kind of giving a brief introduction on how you got started in Beachbody and coaching as well.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so yes, I'm currently a 5-star coach, 6-star qualifying. I started my Beachbody journey in May of 2010. My husband and I, we were high school sweethearts, and he was a All-American collegiate runner, Division I runner in college. And so he had always really been fit, and both of us had been used to just eating whatever we wanted, and we had the young metabolism to be able to handle whatever we wanted to eat. And of course, as you know, we all know, as you get older, you gain weight when you eat whatever you want. So we were actually home for Mother's Day in May of 2010, and I didn't own a scale in our house, but we were at Chris's parents' house, and he got on the scale in his parents' bathroom, and he was over 200 pounds, which probably wouldn't be a big deal to most people, but for him, being a runner, that was definitely sort of a breaking point for him. So he said something to me about, oh my gosh, this is what the scale said, and I'm freaking out. We need to do something about, what we're eating. We were the couple that was consuming Ortega Taco Tuesday, which is what we called it. We ordered carry-out pizza on Fridays, like you name it. We had like a day for everything, and nothing was healthy. We didn't have a single healthy meal in our regimen. So a neighbor of mine actually had introduced me to the concept of Shakeology, and P90X was something that we had wanted to order anyway. So when we found out that Shakeology was owned by the same creators as P90X, we ordered both of them. That was in the days before challenge packs. So we ordered both of them, and then I just decided that it made economic sense for me to start as a coach to save money with a discount. So that's how it started for me. To make a really long story short, I was about 25 pounds heavier than I am now, but I don't have a huge weight loss story. For me, my story sort of resides in my mind, I guess you could say. I'd always suffered from chronic migraine, and it got really worse, a lot worse when Chris and I got married. So when we got married, about 6 months later, literally just couldn't go a day without a headache. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'd have a migraine. Never had any relief from it. So I was working a corporate job at the time, and was at the point where I'd had several doctor's notes to have the fluorescent lights taken out above my cubicle. And so when I tell people that I was literally living in darkness, I mean I was literally living in darkness. Like I had no lights above my cubicle. We didn't have lights on at home, just a constant headache. So after anti-seizure IV infusions, 4 neck surgeries, Botox for migraine, and several types of medications, I decided that obviously none of the medical community was going to be able to figure out what was causing my headaches. So I was my own best doctor. So I decided to find something that was going to distract me from that pain. And it was the same time that Chris also mentioned wanting to start P90X. So P90X became our distraction for an hour a day, every day. And Shakeology was really just the first step to changing our nutrition. The first time I ever had it, though, it went back down in the garbage disposal because I thought it was disgusting. So happy to say that I've come a long way since then.
And that kind of leads, I had actually a question later, but I'm going to lead into this because somebody had wanted me to ask you if you had any tips for people who may not have like an amazing, weight loss story or a huge transformation story when they're coaching. I know, as you said, you didn't have like this, you never were like, severely overweight, and Chris never was either. So, and I have some coaches now who may have already be fit, they're already into fitness. And so they love Beachbody and they love Shakeology, but they don't have like these huge transformation pictures like some other people do to kind of push their business.
Right. Yeah. I actually don't post my before and after photo very often, maybe like 2 times a year. I'll tell myself, oh, you should post that photo again. And when you look at my photo, you don't see a huge transformation. Actually, the first time I ever posted it, I got a lot of comments from people that were saying things like, well, I think you looked fine in the before photo, and even people who would actually approach my parents in my hometown saying, why does she post that photo? It doesn't look like she's really had that much of a transformation. I did lose 25 pounds, but I didn't have, it wasn't like when you look at my photos, it doesn't look like a huge difference aside from I did tone up considerably. So what I do when I post that photo is I actually do exactly that. When I post it, I tell people, I'm right up front with them and I say, I don't have a huge weight loss story, but let me tell you what my story is. And I tell them about the headaches that I was going through, and I tell them about Ortega Taco Tuesday and what my diet looked like. And I tell them that, and sometimes I almost make it as a joke, like, look, I don't have this huge transformation story, but you have no idea what's happened to me on the inside. That's what counts. So I think it's really just in how you tell your story. And if you're sitting here listening and you're like, I don't have a story, you do have a story. You just haven't dug deep enough within yourself to figure out what that story is. So there are a lot of, I'm a big personal development junkie. There's a lot of books out there. Bo Eason is fabulous. If you had a chance to listen to his thing that he did for Beachbody last month, he's awesome. He's got some great stuff on YouTube as well about creating your story. And, there's all kinds of books out there, like Tell to Win is one of my favorites. But I think really it's just a matter of finding the details in what your life was like before Beachbody. So what were the details? Were you eating Ortega tacos? Because that's a detail people can connect with. And that's something that you can then show them through story, how you've changed. So don't worry about having the major, weight loss. Just worry about how you're portraying what your story is and own it.
And how it changes as we go too. It does.
Right. Yeah.
That's for all of us.
Absolutely.
Jenny, can you tell them how you genuinely approach both a warm and cold market when you're inviting prospects?
Sure. I would say, I really don't like the phrases warm and cold, but I know what you mean. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think for me, it's, my team, we talk a lot about forming, following that. Is that something that your team's familiar with? Okay. So yeah, so that's something that we all, really focus on. If it's someone in my cold market or in my warm market, regardless, it's somebody that I want to get hot, right? Like I want them to go from warm to hot or cold to warm to hot. So to get them into the hot category, I need to get to know them better, and I need to get to know their why and what it is they want out of something. In some cases, those first few conversations might have nothing to do with health and fitness. I might literally just be catching up with them about their life or complimenting their kids' photos or whatever it might be, just to kind of reconnect with them and have that relationship with them. We're in a relationship marketing business. So if you treat every person that you're talking to, whether they're cold or warm, if you treat them like you truly care about the relationship, then when the time comes for them to be ready, to do something with their health and fitness, you're going to be their go-to person. So I don't necessarily know if I treat them differently. I think that I just form with everyone until they get into the hot category and want to move forward.
I agree. I know you and I have talked about how we do this too. I do the same thing, and I try and tell them all the same, the same type of thing. I just connect with people on a one-on-one basis, and eventually it just becomes really natural, and I don't have to go out of my way to say, hey, do you want to try this Beachbody thing? It doesn't end up being icky if you do it right. If you do it the other way, it's not icky.
Right. And actually, I'm glad you said that. I just started reading this book, and I'm doing a local mastermind group for it. It's John Maxwell's Good Leaders Ask Great Questions. And it's something that I've really had to work on, because I think a lot of us fall into the category of like, we could talk about ourselves for hours, But really, you know, if you really want to move a relationship forward and a conversation forward, the best thing you can do is ask questions. So that's something I know that I'm working on doing as well, is just when I'm forming, you know, don't get caught up in describing what's, you know, if they say, oh, what's new with you? They don't really need to hear the novel of what's going on with me. I'd rather hear more about them. It's a good book, though. I recommend it.
Write that down, you guys. If you could change one thing, Jenny, about coaching when you were new, so when you decided to start working your business, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good question.
This is a panel question. They always ask this on those panels.
Yeah, I know. And I should be better prepared for it. I would say that, you know, there are probably a few things, but I don't regret, you know, having done anything that I've done, because I've learned from everything that I've done. I think if anything, I'm the type of person that wants to know everything before I dive in. And so for me, it was literally, if I could change anything, I would have started sooner. I waited probably 6 or 8 months after I became a coach, because I thought I needed to, you know, get through P90X and have my journey and have my story and have those results. And I wish I wouldn't have done that. I wish I would have shared my journey as I went. And I also wish that in the beginning I would have embraced vulnerability a little bit more than I did. I really wanted to add value to people as a new coach. I wanted to share inspiration, and I wanted to, you know, let people know that Beachbody was something that I was doing.
Hello, internet, come back.
That I have. The only true regret that I have would be just simply not showing my vulnerability and showing my journey as it was happening. Otherwise, I don't regret anything, because I've learned from it.
Learn from it. That's so true. Do you think being a certified instructor and having the gym has helped you as a coach?
I mean, again, I feel like everything is a learning experience, and that's kind of how I treat everything. I would say, you know, when we opened the studio, we did it intentionally to sort of feed our Beachbody business. It was a way, I had left my corporate job in 2012 to pursue Beachbody full time. And of course, compared to sitting in a cubicle all day long, I was like super excited about, you know, working from home and having, you know, my own business. And so, but about 3 months into that, after sitting out on my patio, assuming neighbors are going to come over and talk to me every day, I started to crave personal interaction. I just couldn't be at home all day on my computer. I needed that face-to-face. And so that's why we opened the studio ultimately, was just to put me in front of people, and so I could get that sort of craving satisfied. But I think, you know, if anything, I feel like I'm a studier of human behavior. And so I like the fact that when I'm in front of people at the studio, and it doesn't have anything to do with whether or not I own the studio or if I'm just an instructor, but just by being in front of people, you can better get a grasp on how people act and how they interact and how they make decisions and what their thought processes are. And so I think that, you know, as an instructor, I can say that, you know, people sort of look to you for advice. They look to you for, you know, your input. I actually have some people, you know, asking me if they can eat certain foods. And I'm like, okay, that is not in my range of, that's not my job description. But when they come to you and they trust you, that you sort of have that established trust, you know, in your relationship, then yes, I think it does help me to better understand people, so that then I know how to help others that I might not be able to meet in person. So I think, you know, it has helped, and I've learned a lot from it, but I don't necessarily think that my success with Beachbody has come from opening the studio.
I agree. And there are a lot of, they've opened the live format so much, like just in the last year or two, and there are so many certifications, and they certify a lot of people, and you and I both know that not all those people are going to be instructors, but I think you would probably agree with me that even if you go through a certification, if you're never going to teach the format, you can still get something out of it. You still learn more about like the community of Beachbody, and you still learn about the format itself, and it kind of gives you that like extra little piece to talk to your challengers about if you do a challenge group with that format at home.
Right.
So I know, but it's not just like, oh, I'm going to be an instructor. Okay, I'm going to be successful.
Right. You know, I tell everybody all the time, I'm like, when I first got certified, I started with P90X. That was the first certification I did. And when I first got certified, I had no no anticipation of opening a gym or teaching. Like I didn't think I was ever going to teach it. I just wanted to learn more about the science of it so that I could, I loved the program, and I was, a big Tony fan, and I wanted to just learn more. And I think if the question, when I get the question from people, should I become an instructor? My question is, don't ask yourself if you should become an instructor. Ask yourself if you'd like to learn more about that particular format. For me, I have my nutrition. I just got my nutrition license like 3 or 4 months ago. And that for me was just like a personal quest. Like I will most likely not meet with people about their nutrition. I don't care to do that. I just wanted to learn more about nutrition for myself. So whatever it is that interests you, if it's nutrition or if it's P90X, or if it's PIO or whatever, consider doing the cert, and don't ask yourself if you're going to teach it. Just ask yourself if you want to learn more about the program. And then you can make that decision later if you want to teach it.
Agreed. How do you motivate your coaches, Jenny, in the beginning, like to get them off on a good start?
Yeah. Can only motivate the willing. And I just consider them my customers, and I include them in challenge groups, and I help them with their health and fitness. And I just treat them as if they're a customer. If they're a coach who have indicated that they want to pursue the business, and then they're kind of like on the struggle bus and I can't get them started, I typically have to come back to their why. And so one thing that we've implemented on our team is anytime any of us have a new coach, we send them an About Me form. So when they get started as a coach, they get an email from their upline, and in that email, there's an About Me form. And that About Me form just asks them, okay, where are you now with your health and fitness? Like, talk to us about your story. Why do you want to pursue this business? So that we actually have a hard copy of what they've told us, that they want to do with this business. That way, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks down the road, we can say, hey, look, this is what you told me you wanted, and that's why I'm pushing you. I also think, that creating an environment for personal growth has been big. That's been a focus of mine for 2015. And I think it's working exceptionally well, like just forming, making sure that I'm including, suggested podcasts to my team to listen to, or sending books in the mail to my new coaches. I always send the Compound Effect to all of my new coaches. Just kind of making those small gestures to try to get them on the personal growth wagon, because I feel like if they'll invest in their personal growth, then they'll invest in the business. So I think it's a matter of two things: uncovering their why, but not just in a verbal conversation, in an actual written form, so that you can come back to that if they lose motivation, and then also just making sure you're supporting them as their leader with personal growth.
Do you and only because I didn't know this either, but so many people like on our team, they'll get a bunch of coaches, from challenge groups and whatnot, but they're all, coach account, but not working coaches, so to speak. So how did you make that transition to get more working coaches from just the people signing on to get the discount?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I know. Okay, I would say, I have a video that I did for my team that I'm happy to share called The 3 Types of Coaches. And it literally it talks about how, as a business owner in this business, you need 3 types of coaches. You need the discounter who just wants to be treated like a customer. You need the part-time hobbyist who wants to treat this like a hobby, and you need the full-time person that wants to shoot for this being their full-time thing. Obviously, the percentage of your hard workers is going to be slim. And that's just the law of numbers. That's just the law of how people operate. I think that I'm getting feedback. Are you?
Yeah, a little bit. It's probably mine.
No. Let me hit the mute button. If I mute, will it mute me? Can you hear me now?
I can still hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, good. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to mute it. Okay. So I think you have to be okay with that. But at the same time, I think you have to know, as the leader of your team, which coaches you see great potential in, and you have to be willing to not give up on them. And I always like to tell the story. I have, technically, my husband has a diamond under him as well. That was a misplacement on my part. But But all of my diamond leaders have interesting stories. I have two of them who actually started in a P90X challenge group of mine a couple years ago, and they signed up as a coach because they wanted the discount. They wanted to save money on their Shakeology. And so they finished that the P90X challenge group, and at the end of it, they said, we can't continue the Shakeology. It's too expensive. We don't want to pursue the business. And I knew that both of them would be fabulous if they just understood it better and if they would just invest in it. And so I pushed a little bit, and I was like, come on, I know you'd be great at this. And they were like, no, we're going to cancel it. Both of them. Two people didn't know each other prior to the group. They both decided the same thing. And so they both canceled their coach account, and both of them, after 6 months, came back to me and said, you know what, I think I want to, I'm missing my Shakeology. I haven't been able to find anything like it. I want to come back on board with the discount, but this time I really want to learn about the business. And so I think really the key to what I'm saying is just being okay with meeting people where they are. If they're not ready, then they're not ready, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't continue to follow up on that you shouldn't continue to try to push that. Shauna is one of my diamonds, and she will tell you that she didn't really see what coaching was. She was in my team page, but she just she didn't really understand what it was. And after she had quit, after that initial challenge group, she was posting on Facebook about these people. She was a school teacher, and she was posting on Facebook about these school teachers that she was getting in a group after school, and they would go run. It was kind of like their own little couch to 5K thing going on. She was trying to get them to all do their first 5K. And so I just reached out to her and I said, hey, Shauna, hope it's going well. I just want you to know that you're doing what a coach does. Keep rocking it. And just those little messages telling her, like showing her what she's already doing, kind of made her light bulb click. So when she did come back into the team page, she'd been in it before, but when she came back into the team page, when she got back into our team culture, this time she understood what she was supposed to do as a coach. So I think, don't give up on people, be willing to follow up, and be willing to kind of be a little pushy. And we're frozen. Oh, okay.
You did it to me too. All right. So that was helpful. I gotta find my train of thought here. Can you give us give them some input on how you've grown to structure your month in terms of like how many challenge packs you generally run, or challenge groups you generally run, if you're running them on your own, having coaches. I know what we're doing at the moment, but we're branching out, a little bit as teams grow, you change and move, and everyone was really is always interested in knowing how other teams do this. Frozen.
That's good. In February of this year, we were, I had a pretty amazing team cup run with my girls from my team cup in February. And I think just through that, we created a really great sort of camaraderie and team culture just within our small team cup team that then spread to our overall team. So starting in February, we started running team-led challenge groups. And to this day, when Jeff Cromenhoek or Arnaud or anybody asks me what I think is like our secret sauce, I tell them that it's team-led challenge groups, because I think it makes transition from customer to coach easier. And I think it also makes, new coaches feel comfortable knowing that someone else is going to help lead this group. It's not all on them to find people to put into this, group as a coach. So it used to be, way back when, a year ago or so, when I would recruit people out of a challenge group to become coaches, I got a lot of resistance. I got a lot of hesitation because people were like, well, I don't know if I can find that many people, or I don't know if I can, commit to leading it every day. But then if we're leading it as a team, what we're seeing now is asking someone, hey, would you like to save a little money on your Shakeology and also invite your friends to the group? They're like, okay, like they'll add their one or two friends, one or two or three friends at a time. And it's totally more doable for them. And they know that they're only going to have to lead 1 or 2 days out of 21 days or whatever the case might be. So team-led groups have been a big thing for us. As far as, I got to look at my whiteboard real quick. We always are running a 21-day fix group. That's kind of become our wheelhouse. So we have an ongoing monthly 21-day fix challenge group. And then we've got, 3 other challenge groups going on that are team-led right now. So as any that and I let my team run them. Like my team is in charge of them. I will probably lead, a day or two out of the 21 days, but I do not take a big leadership role in that. And then we also have obviously some kind of team trainings built into our calendar too. So we have those challenge groups built in. We also have like a monthly business opportunity webinar. We have like a coach sneak peek every month. We have an Emerald to Diamond training, and we have a Coach Basics. So we kind of keep those on our schedule also.
It's interesting that you said about your team-led groups, because that's something we started doing this year as well, and it's definitely helped my team also. So great minds, right? Because we didn't talk about that before. So, but we do it too, and it has definitely helped. And we had to kind of split a little bit because they got so big. I don't know if you've seen that, but they got to the point because we had coaches bringing in people, which is what they're meant to do. But they just got really big, and some people, even split up, there's still like 100 people here and 100 people there, and it can be really overwhelming to some people. So I always tell my coaches, like, you guys can always run your own if you want to, if you're more comfortable with that. Don't feel like you have to be in this huge group, but you never have to be by yourself if you don't want to. So that's great minds, because we did it too. My internet keeps freezing up. So annoying. I'm going to wait for it to start moving again before I ask another question. There, you're back now. But yeah, I was just saying, it has helped us a lot. Like I said, we always do, like I always tell them they can do, they're always, like I have some coaches that love running their own. They do their own. I'm like, you can do whatever you want. It's your own thing. And I think like the last question, if you have any suggestions for coaches who have overcoming obstacles with coaches who are just lost their they're really gung-ho at the beginning. They have this huge why, and then life gets busy. We all have stuff. I always tell them that we all have stuff every day. Everybody's got their own obstacles. But then those of us, they keep going, like no matter what. And what are your words to them to helping their coaches and challengers overcome these obstacles?
Well, I would say it kind of, sorry, it's getting weird. Okay. I would say that one of the things that like I've already mentioned before, coming back to their why, I think is super important. And just being okay with, I think that's sometimes a common problem, is that we as coaches, it's a little uncomfortable for us to approach someone about how they've fallen off the wagon, and we don't know what to say, or if we're going to say it right. We don't want to hurt their feelings, or we don't know what's going on in their life. But I think it's always going to be okay if you just do it, and if you just come to them and say, I care about you and I really want this to work for you if you want this to work, but I don't want to push you if it's not for you. And I think sometimes, it's uncomfortable for even me to do that, but it's important to do that. So I think just simply having that conversation with somebody is key. But then also, I think what I found this year is the more that you can empower your coaches to take on responsibilities, the more likely they are to overcome the obstacle or their hesitation or their fear. So for example, there's a coach on my team. She's not my personally sponsored. She's a few layers down, and she started off like, Success Club 10, her first 3 months, like just rocking it. And then she hit a roadblock where she couldn't hit Success Club in month 4. And so, we've seen this over and over again where she felt like she was a failure, and maybe it was just like this really random thing that she had success in the beginning. And so she got really down on herself. She kind of lost what we call her mojo. So she kind of lost this motivation. And so she's also the type of person who, I love my craft beer, but she also loves her craft beer. And so she was posting on Facebook all about these beer festivals and all these fun things she was doing, which is great, except for that doesn't really jive very well with a health and fitness type of, brand. And so, we tried having the conversation with her about, okay, we understand that you really like this, and we do too, but, maybe we could talk about your brand a little bit, or do some attraction marketing training or whatever. And she wouldn't respond. She got very sort of just lost her motivation completely. And so finally, her leader kept coming to me and saying, I just don't know how to get her motivated. I don't know how to get her back on the wagon. And so we really had to take a look at her as a person. It's such an individual approach, but to be able to say, okay, why is Susie what is the issue going on right now? Does she have things going on in her family life or what? Well, with this particular person, she came into this business because she thought it was going to be fun. And in her first 3 months, she was having fun because she was bringing people on board. And when she stopped bringing people on board, she didn't think it was very fun anymore. So we had to figure out, okay, she's in this because she wants to have fun, right? So we had to figure out how can we make this more fun for her. So I mentioned to her leader, I said, I think we need to approach her about leading our team size group because size is fun. The type of people that want to do size are people who want to have fun with their workout. So what can we do to put her in charge of something where she can feel like it's fun again? And actually my leader was like, I just don't think she will. She hasn't responded to the last 3 messages that I've sent her. So the two of us sent her voice messages on Facebook. I'm a big fan of the voice message feature. If you haven't used it already, it's great to hear people's voice. And so I sent her a message and I just said, Nicole, we would love for you. We would absolutely love for you to lead our next team size group. We think that you do these awesome dub smash videos. We just think it'd be awesome for you to just take your fun side and run with this group. And so she responded within 10 minutes and was like, oh my gosh, I would love to do that. It was like we had seen her potential. We wanted her to know that we're not just going to tug at you. We really believe that you can do this, and we want to make it fun for you because we understand that that's what you want out of it. So I really think that if you have a coach on your team and you can't get a response out of them or they're not very motivated, I think you need to look at who they are as a person. What is it they're doing? What is it they're doing this business for? Are they, I have coaches on my team who have full-time jobs. They're very comfortable. I have a full-time attorney who's a diamond coach. She loves her job as an attorney. She does not care about the money. So if I start talking to her about advancing rank, for the income, it's not going to matter to her. But if I know what I know about her is she loves recognition. So if I can give her recognition, it will inspire her to keep going. So I think it's an individual approach, but if you know more about your coach and you know what it is that really moves them, then use that to empower them. Give them a responsibility that empowers them to do something with it.
Well, that was hi, Rudy. That was great and helpful for me too. So I went through all of our questions, so I'm happy to end our recording. So thank you again so much, Jenny, for taking time out of your schedule to record this for us. And everyone that's on the call, check her out on Facebook, follow her fan page, thank her for showing up today. And I'm sure if you have any questions, the follow-up questions, if you send them my way or her way, we'll get them to you. Okay, thanks, Jenny.
Yep.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.